The year was 2008. I thought I met the love of my life. Time after time, I would say, God, please show me if he is or is not the one by letting him do something. And it would turn out he would cheat on me, beat on me, or just hurt me real bad. And God would be like, girl, I keep on showing you that he's not the one, and I'm getting kind of tired of it, okay? Because you ain't no dummy. And then I had to look up and say, you're right, God. I ain't no fool. So I wanted to say that story before we got into today's story, which comes from a doctor now, who was married to a man, and she was paying a $23,000 car note, and it seemed like he was abusing her throughout their little marriage. She was on TikTok about it. Then those videos got taken down, in which she went to her YouTube and talked about it. So make sure you check out the description box if you want to watch this video without my commentary. I'm actually going to speed up what she says and just remove a lot of the background noise, but please go and support our girl. So what's up, my friends, and welcome back once again to the Just Case and Bread. I'm your homegirl, I'm your tia, I'm your prima, I'm your cousin, I'm your friend, I'm whatever you need me to be down here at the Just Case and Bread. If you are new to the community and you have not already joined the Jeighborhood, definitely consider doing so. We have a ton of videos, topics to choose from. What we like to do over here is talk about people's business that ain't got nothing to do with us, because we already got enough going on in our lives. And if these people gonna put it out, well, we just gonna watch it for entertainment. It's free entertainment. You ain't got to pay an app fee or nothing. That's what we do down here at the Jeighborhood. So make sure to subscribe. If you're already a member of the Jeighborhood, then I don't know if you've seen this story go viral on Black Twitter, but I did, and I thought it brought up some good points about paying attention to red flags when you're in relationships and really just valuing yourself. After this whole video went viral, the doctor went back online and she started to talk about how she's been through watching her mom get abused, and that made her have a lower self-esteem and not have good expectations of what a man should be to her. And I thought that was very touching and sad, but at the end of the day, y'all already know what I'm gonna say. If you over the age of 20, it's time for you to stop being like, oh, I seen this and that's why this happened. You just have to grow up. You just have to make better decisions, and you have to make those sacrifices that say, you know what, if you're gonna be over here making me feel a type of ways, then we're not gonna be together. And yeah, that might mean that I'm about to be by myself, but that's okay, because you're not about to be abusing me and I'm taking care of a whole household. Hell no. I don't care what a man does. I don't care how he acts in the beginning. If he have some red flags, some shit that is just some deal breakers for you, just don't break the deal. That's all you can do. Don't break the deal, because you're worth more than that. But anyway, before I get to hood preaching, let's go ahead and get into our videos.
In my blunders that I've made in my life, and the worst mistakes that I've made, and some of which that I've also spoken about, I've realized how kind God is, because I've seen God did offer me an opportunity to correct my mistake. God offered me an opportunity in his kindness to correct my mistake, and I didn't take it. So you know how I shared, but I bought my husband a Mercedes-Benz GLC that I was paying 15,000 every month towards the car. So he drove it 2019, 2020, 2021 in August. Like, the car was bought in August, towards the end of August in 20. We moved from Cape Town and then we went to Lady Grey, where I said I was doing my internship. But he was commuting from Lady Grey to Unveiled North every day, because he had a barber shop in Unveiled North that he was running it on a daily basis. The distance from Lady Grey to Unveiled North, I think it's plus minus 100 k's. So he would drive going and drive coming back. That was a lot of driving. That was a lot of petrol. That was a lot of strain on the car itself.
So why wouldn't you just get him a Honda? What made him need a Mercedes? I'm sorry, but when it comes to being entrepreneurs and having to manage money, I wouldn't want to get a super high car payment if we're freshly married and we done bought a house. If we have all this financial strain, I do not want to turn around and get a Mercedes and then I'm traveling like that to go to and from work. Now, I don't know how much 100 whatever she said is, but I feel like that's probably 45 minutes to an hour in traffic. Hell no. No, give me a little Honda. Give me something affordable. Give me something that's not going to be no gas guzzler. And even if I do have a Mercedes, I'm leaving that mug at home, because I just don't need to drive it. You know what I'm saying? And if he had a barbershop girl, why couldn't he buy his own car?
And like, sometimes I guess he would be exhausted because he was going there every day. My husband was involved in an accident with the GLC. On the day that he was involved in an accident, it was the day after we had the biggest fight. The day before I don't remember what we were arguing about, but the fight didn't end well. He beat me up, slapped me multiple times, and after slapping me, I fell, and then he dragged me on the ground. I remember him dragging me on the ground and me sitting on the ground like that and crying while I was seated on the ground. I'm laughing now because I'm saying all of this in retrospect. And while I was crying, he didn't care, né? But I remember at some point looking at him and asking him, "But can you see me? It's me." Like what he was, is like we are better, and his eyes are red, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, "It's me. Can you see?" And he was just continuing beating me. That day, my heart was so broken. After he beat me up, I just got up. When he stopped, I got up, and then I went to the room and I started praying. And I think I was so defeated that day that when I prayed, I said to God, "Jongatiko, the marriage is like this. And I don't know about what's your will with my life as far as this marriage is concerned." But then I said, my heart can now realize that things are not going to get better. So if it's your will for this marriage to end, please end it yourself. And then I said, if you can see I'm being resistant to getting out of this marriage and to letting this marriage go, please remove this marriage. Make a plan and just remove me or remove my husband. I said that to God and I said amen. The following day, my husband drove to his barber shop, and then he had an accident. When I
tell him, God, tell him, Lord, take him down under, Lord, send him to hell where he belongs.
Not speaking to each other, I went to my work, and I was walking to work because it was like a 3 minutes walk, and then I could walk. And I walked to work, and then he drove, and he got into an accident. I was just called by someone I don't.
I knew I was messing with the wrong dude when he would still allow me to make taxi arrangements or Uber arrangements or streetcar arrangements to get to work, which my job was just 5 minutes down the street, when he was off and had a car. Him having a brand new car off of her, well, I feel like a 2019 is a brand new car. Him having a nice ass car, brand new, he ain't even got to pay for it. You can't even drop your wife off to work. On top of that, you work at a barbershop. You own the barbershop. You can make your own schedule to make your wife feel special and drop her to and from work. I'd have had all kind of problems with this type of shit.
No, who called and said, "Hello, your husband has just had an accident." Then the first thing I asked is, "Where is he? Is he okay?"
Let him
and
be.
The driver said, "Yes, he's okay." Then I said, "Let's give him the phone." He was given the phone and I said, "Are you hurt?" And he said, "No, I am not hurt." Then I said, "Please make sure that no tow truck comes to tow the car. I'm going to call the insurance and make sure that whoever takes the car has been given the go-ahead by the insurance." Then after that, I called the insurance. Obviously, Kalwanis, the car is in my name and the car is also insured by me, even though he is the primary driver of the car. So I was the one that had to exercise all of that and facilitate all of that. So then I called the insurance, and the insurance people go there and then they give a go-ahead for the tow company. And luckily, the tow truck was already there. The car was finished. The car was completely finished. And my husband came out without a scratch.
I wish he was finished, girl. That car was totaled.
The car was completely finished. He came out without a scratch. I had a friend that took me to the site of the accident. When I got there, I assessed him quickly and I saw that he's fine. Then I said that it's fine. We can, if you're not feeling okay, we can go and assess you at the hospital that I'm working at. The friend that I came there with, he helped us to put our things in his car. My husband and I, we got into the friend's car and then we drove back home. When we got home, we didn't talk to each other or say anything or try to rehash whatever it is that might have happened. We just got there, we knelt down in our room, and then we prayed.
No. So do you guys even show intimacy to one another? Does he show intimacy to you? Now, I do understand in different cultures, it's very normal for a man to act super callous and cold to a woman. But I feel like it don't hurt you to step outside your culture if you ain't getting what you need from your culture. You feel me? Then provided this comfortable lifestyle for this man. She's literally the anchor in the relationship because she's the one with the full-time job. And he's still gonna sit up there and not even like hug her, kiss her, be like, "Oh, babe, I have saw the light. I'm so sorry I've been this way towards you. I love you. You're everything for me." And for her, if he would have gotten to that wreck and now I'm out some money, I'd have started looking like maybe the Lord is trying to tell me something. Maybe we ain't supposed to be together because now it's wrecking my life. Because I'm sure she about to come out and tell us how she had to cover things financially and
God, like, for protecting him. And we were just crying like on our knees and just praying and thanking God. We thanked God, we prayed, and then from there afterwards, I was now calling the insurance, trying to get like a courtesy car because I was already frustrated. I was like, okay, he is fine. that means that he's gonna need a car. So I need to now call the insurance people for a courtesy car and tell them Yonkindo. Then I was like stressed going back and forth with the insurance because like Bloemfontein is 2 hours away for us to go and fetch the courtesy car. Like it was just a stressful process. That is fine. And then I was just on the phone the whole time. Yeah, he was also on the phone with his family, and the members were like just bekuza. And after that they were like praying with him and all of that. But I wasn't in those prayers because I was busy on the phone. The following day was the same thing. I woke up. At the time I was on a weight loss journey, so I was doing jump rope. I woke up and I did the jump rope, and after that I was on the phone. I was on the phone the whole time. We did not talk about the fight that we had or anything, but this is what I want to say in the last minute, because this is what this video is about. When that car got into an accident, it was a complete write-off, but my husband was fine. The bank paid, the insurance paid, and also the shortfall cover paid for the car, and the car was completely covered and it was paid for. It's like God said, Tselwe, you've made the worst financial mistake of your life. I am blotting it out. I am forgiving you. I'm giving you a chance to make better decisions on the car. That is like one thing that like I made sure, because I was like advised, Uba, if you are going to buy an expensive car, you must know that you've completely covered it. And I just want to say this to young ladies, females that are buying like a car for the very first time. First of all, I feel like a young female, you've got no business buying like a luxurious, very expensive car as your first car. If you're just a young female, your first car, I feel like you've got no business buying a very expensive car. If you feel you want to, and you are single and you've worked for it, you want to buy a luxurious car, it's fine, but just make sure you can afford the insurance, comprehensive, and also afford the shortfall cover.
This is common sense. I really dislike when people get up here and they now trying to preach against what they done went through, and they like, oh yeah, don't do it because I did it and it didn't work out for me. It didn't work out for you, young lady, for you. But there's other people out here who come from homes and families who already understand financial literacy and are able to go ahead and put up the money necessary to not only afford a good car or a nice, luxurious car, but also have the credit score, also are able to afford the insurance, whatever comes with it, because they understand that they have to go to work in order to have these things. Your man was not able to afford that car. So since he wasn't able to afford it, why would you put more financial stress on you by going to get the car? You just thought you could dress this whole dysfunctional relationship up with a marriage, a nice car, and a nice lifestyle. If the outside of the house looks good, but the inside is rotten, then that's not a comfortable home. There ain't no peace in that household. See, what you really want to say to the young girls is, don't make your life look like it's better than what it really is. Because if you dealing with a man who treating you like you ain't shit, it don't matter what you buy, you nor him, you gonna still feel like you ain't shit at the end of the day. That's really the message that I feel she's trying to give out.
So the insurance paid. The shortfall was paid for. The car that he was driving, like that, I am working, but we're not able to do most of the things that we were supposed to be able to do. And I think, like even when I'm speaking about these things, obviously I'm trying to avoid to say that, oh, another thing is because we are a one income household. No, I don't say things like that, because I don't want him to feel like I'm putting the blame on him. But what I was trying to reason out with,
and you still out of order. So you're a one income household. So this man ain't got no job. So you married a man with no job for what? Now we starting to get to the meat of it. If a man ain't got no job, you definitely ain't getting no damn Mercedes. I'm liable to get you a bike on sale at Walmart for $98 or less. And I better be able to put that shit on my credit card so that I can get 5% back on your ass. Because how you ain't got no job? What's wrong with him? Do he not got no arms or legs? Oops, yes he does, because his ass worked down at the damn barbershop that he say he owned. I knew that motherfucker wasn't bringing in no money, and you sitting up here calling this person, trying to make sure everything is okay for him to go to and from work. He better become a Flintstone. He better get to walking.
Was for him to understand, but we do not afford this car 15,000 to begin with. Then I said to him, can we please consider downgrading? Can we please downgrade? Because that car was a big car and it's very expensive to begin with. The insurance is expensive. The installment of the car is expensive. Can we please downgrade? Then he said, he's not prepared to take anything that is not a Mercedes-Benz. For him, it's going to be Mercedes-Benz or nothing. And another thing, he said that he's not going to be a laughing stock amongst like his people and his friends and just like people in general, because he was driving a Mercedes-Benz, a bigger car. It's bigger, like even amongst his peers, he was driving a bigger car. He got involved in an accident, and now I wanted to turn him into a laughing stock by making him drive a small car, and then he's not gonna be fine. Yeah, this is okay. If we go and buy an expensive car, just like the car that you were driving, You have got to know, Uba, going forward, we will never afford to stay in the city or to stay in town. Like to go and stay somewhere where like the cost of bread is expensive and the way of life is also expensive. Because I've got to think about what is it that I can afford. I cannot afford to have you drive the most expensive car and then also have to send the kids to good schools and also pay the rental. If you go and stay in the city with the big family that we've got, that means that when we get to the city and we get a rental, that house is going to be like 15,000. So I cannot pay rent that is that expensive and then pay for a car that is that expensive at the same time when I have to cover the daily bills. Then he said, yeah, he understands that means we're going to have to stay in rural. Then he said, yeah, he would rather compromise and then we stay in rural. And when you're buying, he drives like a cheap car. We went to Mercedes-Benz. When we got to Mercedes-Benz, on the floor, on the showroom, there was a GLB. That was in 2021. Ne? That was in 2021 in August. The Mercedes-Benz GLB was new. It had just been like released. It was on the show. We signed on the dotted line. I signed and then he got his car. So the car that he got was a Jeep that was royal blue in color. It was a gorgeous car. When you're sitting inside the car, it felt like you are riding in luxury. It was a beautiful car that was costing me an arm and a leg. I was paying 20,000, 19,000 and something, closer to 20,000 for the installment. Then the insurance was closer to 3,000. So in total, I was paying 23,000 per month.
And you sat up there and signed it? I don't like that she's telling us this story and she's saying it like as if she wasn't there. And she's saying it like her blinders were on so heavily that she couldn't see through it. Let's tell the truth, because to me, it doesn't sound like this man was being so nice to her and just gigoloing her up to where she was tricked into buying this car. What it sounded like is she was trying to buy love. That's what it sounds like. I would love for her to just say, never try and build a lifestyle for a man in order for a man to want to stay with you. Because let me tell you what I did. You got here because you was trying to buy this man. That's it.
Towards a car alone for a man that is not employed. And I was taking care of the kids, of every other bill.
Oh, and y'all had kids and stuff too?
Yo, I'm so sorry about your triggered.
What was the point in even coming out with this story online? Who are we helping here? Even I know not to spend $23,000 on no damn car for a man who ain't got no damn job. This is common sense. There is no profound wisdom or no deeper meaning into none of this shit.
His like car that's costing me 23,000 every month. So now he's driving this car and then the bank starts deducting. And I realized, but yay, this is expensive. This is expensive. It's so expensive because if you think about it, from the car that he was driving and we were paying 15,000, and now you have added like an additional 8,000 that is going towards a car. And community service is going to end. When community service ends, so now it's towards the end of the year, and I can see why the province is not really like looking.
This just sounds like them being hella irresponsible. She said, all right, my job is for a limited time only. So when this job ends, I got to find something that makes something like this because I got to pay this car payment. Irresponsible. You about to live at your mama house and I'm going to live how I've been living and have affordable transportation so that my kids are comfortable because that's what I work for. I don't work to put my husband in a Benz when we got kids. We're supposed to be partners. We're supposed to be doing a teamwork thing when it comes to caring for these kids. Not me do for you and the entire household. Girl, you just need to develop a backbone and say no. And you also need to do some soul searching to say, oh, is it me?
To like reabsorb us. So I have to start like looking for a job and going for interviews. I started looking for a job. I started like going for interviews. Some of the interviews were horrible. They went like quite horrible. And then some of the interviews, I was confident. So in the hospital that I'm now working in, when I did the interview, like I was quite confident that, okay, I did well. But there was also other hospitals that I had interviewed in. But most of these places, they were rural because like there was no posts that were coming out like from the city hospitals. And another thing I've always like thought about it as like the competition is tough, like for city hospitals. Most doctors don't want to go to work in rural. So if I want to be sure I'm going to get a job, then I need to also be targeting those hospitals that people don't want to go to. To be honest, I was worried about what's going to happen to the livelihood of my kids. What's going to happen to this husband that likes living an expensive life. I wasn't thinking for myself. As a result, towards the end of the year, I'd already been signed. I'd already gotten my independent practitioner HPCSA clearance. I'd already done courses like your advanced life training courses so that I'm able to look for locums. I was still doing ComServe, but like before it could even become the 1st of January, I already had my certificates. I was already cleared because I knew I had to start looking for locums, of which I did. So December came. Now we have got to vacate where we are staying. We've got to vacate because the contract has ended. We have to vacate. Then we are now thinking about where are we going to stay. So my husband said, he's not going to continue staying in Lady Grey while I'm still waiting to be called wherever I got a job. He can't stay in this place. This place has been frustrating him. He wants to go and stay somewhere where it's a city in the meantime that we're waiting to hear. Then we started thinking about places like, should we go stay in Port Elizabeth? Maybe if we stay in Port Elizabeth, because I'm hopeful of this hospital that I've interviewed in, but they haven't like okayed it. They haven't told me, but yes, I'm getting the job. Or like I've interviewed in Berkeley East. I've interviewed like in Joburg. I don't know where I'm going to get the job. Then we eventually came to a consensus that Bloemfontein is in the middle of the country. We should go and stay in Bloemfontein. Then we stayed in Bloemfontein. Okay. When we stayed in Bloemfontein, I was waiting for your call. Eventually, I did get my letter of appointment where I'm working now. So I knew that I had to come and start, but I couldn't start in January. Since I'm a bursary holder, there was that whole thing where the government had to place us. And because the government couldn't place us, they made an arrangement that we should go back to the hospitals that we're doing our internship for the month of January while they were trying to get jobs for us. So that complicated my time of coming here to start my post, to start my permanent post like on the 1st of January. I had to like work up until like the end of the month and then only came here to start in February, of which at that time we were already staying in Bloemfontein. When we wanted to leave Bloemfontein to come and get a house here, the people that were renting us the place in Bloemfontein, they said, no, we must give a 3 months notice before we can vacate the house. So I left my family there. I left the nanny, I left the kids, and I left my husband there. I came to start
Hold up. Did she just say, I left my family there, I left the nanny there? Why are you letting him make financial decisions for your household when he isn't the one making the money? I just don't understand. And what makes him so much more important than your kids' comfort? For one, we gonna downsize. We're going to downsize to something affordable because I can't be in between jobs as well as taking care of a household, because y'all know she ain't just paying the bills. Y'all know he sound like that type of red pill man. I don't care what culture he is. Red pill man who believes that he's supposed to run shit even if he ain't got shit. So you know he making her feel a ways if she ain't also in the house cooking, cleaning, or she better hire some sort of service to make his life easier because he's such a king. I love to whoop his mama ass and his sisters who had him sitting up here thinking that he didn't have to have a job and got a whole family. Did he come from a household with a daddy or with a mom who had a backbone and believed in raising sons who knew how to take care of business? Hell, take care of themselves so that when they do get with a woman, they don't have to rely on her so heavily to take care of everything. And it's really weird to me how women like this will get up here and they'll flex their career and how much they got going on for themselves, but they can't think straight enough to see a man using them. You a nurse, you a doctor, you save people. You can't save yourself from being with a motherfucking scrub? Oh, girl. Don't give us no advice. No, I'm just saying, you can give us advice.
Someone like helped me to squat while I was working here, and then I would drive back home. By this time, I told my husband, I'm like, because I am going to go and be working far, I feel like now it's the time when I should get myself a car. Because this whole time he has been driving a GLC and then he went to drive a GLB. I didn't have a car. But now I was saying, I'm a medical officer now. I'm no longer like a community service doctor. I need to have my own car because I'm also looking to be working and doing extra shifts, like wherever I can go. So that means I need to be able to drive my own car. He is staying in Bloemfontein. I'm going to be going to work. He's here with the kids. I have to, in the meantime, be coming to Bloemfontein to see the kids and to see the kids up until they can come and move and join me where I'm at. Then he wasn't happy about that. I know, but like he wasn't happy the fact that I was going to now get myself a car. But at this point, I think also feeling how painful it is to pay for his car and also like all the abuse that I've endured, I was already starting to like feel bad. But I've been working this whole time, breaking my back for this husband to be comfortable, to be happy. But he's not really happy because despite yonke lento that I am doing, trying to work hard to make sure that the kids are fine, to make sure that he is happy, but I still come back home and he still like treats me kakubi. He still like is abusive. He still insults me. All of that. So I was starting to feel like, anyway, you probably need to start thinking about what is it that you want. So I just toughened up my head. I went and I bought myself a car. So I got myself a Kia Rio. It was cute. I loved my car.
You should have got the Mercedes. He should have got the Kia Rio. Matter of fact, his ass should have got a motherfucking van. Because why are you driving the Kia? Now, I know it's probably because you want to be financially conscious and you're starting to think to yourself, oh, I might have to go ahead and leave this one. Yeah, I can't be with him if he's going to be wearing and tearing on me like this. Oh, no, absolutely not. And let me say this, too. An easy way, and I don't want to say vet out a man, but just to see if he's going to be the type to be nice to you, watch how he treats you. And I mean, like, for real, watch. When you go to his house, is he willing to cook you food? Or is he kind of like having an attitude because you're there and you're asking if you can eat something? Is he willing to get you some water or get you a drink or, just do nice things while you're in his environment? Then when he comes into your environment, you can do the exact same thing. You don't have to try and put on some sort of a PowerPoint presentation in order to be the one for the man. What you should do is be yourself. take good account into what he is and is not doing and make a decision for you.
I think I justified it and I said, there's no use, but we must be in the same house and we both drive big cars. He drives a big car. So I was like, it's fine. His car can work as a family car and then I'll just buy like a small car just so that I'm able to move from point A to point B. Yo, I enjoyed my car, okay? I don't want to lie. I really did enjoy my Kia Rio. And every 2 weeks, I would leave work and go to Bloemfontein to go and check on them. The time when he beat me up and closed up my eye was in one of those visits that I did. Before this part ends, I just want to say, getting that car was the worst mistake of my life. Like his car, the car that cost 23,000. It was the worst mistake of my life. I've never been so miserable. But as miserable as I was, that man enjoyed himself. He enjoyed himself and he didn't care. It broke my back. It was painful. And at this point, I was like, but God had offered me an opportunity to correct this. God had given me an opportunity on a silver platter.
Shut up. Girl, if you would have kept your eyes open from day one, you would have seen this wasn't the one for you. This ain't got nothing to do with God. I feel like sometimes people put a lot of weight on God to make decisions for them, when God could give you all the inkling, all the red flags, all the signs, the whole damn GPS in the world. And it's up to you to go ahead and make the action to decide, okay, this isn't something for me. I guarantee if you really serve God, he's not going to let you be in a bad relationship for long before he starts showing you red flags. And then you decide to go ahead and be like, oh, well, I could probably fix this part about him. Well, he's always been like this, so I'm just going to go ahead and work with it. God didn't just now show up and wreck the Mercedes and then get it paid off for you. God been showing you. What you did see just now when you went ahead and got the car paid off was grace. That's grace. This isn't God showing you nothing. Man, God's been at the top of it. And if we're being honest, you should have just said from day one, I knew this man wasn't for me. Before I had a child by my son's dad, I seen a lot of red flags, but I was 19, not smart enough to be like, okay, this isn't the one for me. I didn't do no complaining when the baby came, when he acted like he didn't want to be a parent, all that other type of shit. What I did know was now I have this son and I can't be sitting up here acting like I'm a dummy. I can't act like I don't see how he treats me. I can't act like I don't understand when he's being condescending to me. I can't act that way. And I get tired of people acting like, oh, well, God did say, and then God, and then God, and then God. Shut up. Take accountability.
Like this, and I chose not to. I chose not to because it was always tough to disappoint my husband. I've always told myself, but if he is happy, if my kids are happy at home, I will also be fine. And I've realized that my marriage was about making other people happy. It was never about me. It was never. So I ended the last video, Ulanda, where I was paying for that car. If I'm being honest, the worst decision I've ever taken in my life is not even marrying my husband. That is not the worst decision. It's the worst decision I've ever done in my life. The most stupidest decision, the most and yes, it was the worst decision because by signing for that car and taking that car for my husband, I did so much injustice even to my kids. That has delayed me in even buying a house for my children because paying for that car became so difficult. As time progressed, there's a time where I started speaking and saying to my husband, listen, I cannot afford this car. And I think you can see that because towards the end of the month, and our life has changed drastically. We're not able to do fun things that we used to do as a family. We're not able to entertain the kids because there isn't money to do that. And even that, we are not okay. We're not okay. And partly it's the finances because believe it or not, the lack of finances in a marriage, they have a big impact. Some people are miserable in their marriages not because they don't love each other, not because they don't care about each other anymore, but because of lack. Illa can make you very miserable in marriage. It can quench the love, it can quench the affection, it can quench the respect and the honor you give to each other just because you are broke in that marriage. It's frustrating, it's so humbling. So I think finances is a very important aspect in people's marriages. But anyways, it was so difficult. But another thing that was difficult, I think as I was growing,
it's really concerning that her biggest mistake in her mind is that she bought this damn Mercedes and not that she married this man who she now has a lifetime bond with from these fucking kids. She talking about she can't buy no house, girl. You can get a townhome, but you can't change who the father of your child is. And you mean to tell me you don't think that it was bad that he was beating you up? Because I'm sure them kids was there if he was a stay-at-home dad, and I bet he didn't let her drive that car, even though it was a family car. The worst decision you made is some money? Girl, hell no. The worst decision you made was getting with that man. And now we could all do the whole argument. Well, if she didn't get with him, she wouldn't have kids. So, you can't say that. She'd be able to leave his ass. Divorce, bye, see you later. Or break up with him. Huh? We never even got married. That would be the luxury. Not the money that she makes. Not that she's able to drive a Mercedes or buy a Mercedes for her man. The ability to be able to pick up and go whenever something doesn't suit me. And I got the money to provide for it.
I was realizing just how much I am struggling. And I was resenting the fact that I am married to this guy whose priorities are so mismatched to my priorities, because he values being comfortable and being in a good car as opposed to us buying a house and securing our future and securing our kids' future, just because he feels, oh, but this place is not good enough for him. So he would much rather drive like a car that costs 1.2 million than buy a house that costs 1.2 million. And this is someone who has not only given birth to one child, but at this point already also has 3 kids, you know? So I think I started losing the respect I had for him and like the affection that I had in believing, but I was married to this guy who's like an honorable person, who is a churchman and who's a church guy as well, who fears God, who prays so much.
Y'all be thinking that because men go to church, they read the Bible, and they pray all of a sudden and make them an angel of the Lord. These dudes who be sitting in the church, praying on women who are sitting in the church, oh, he loved the Lord, oh, he be in this Bible, oh, he be praising, worshiping all the time. So the Lord ain't told his ass going down and get a job. So he ain't read nowhere in the Bible talking about how a man is the head of the household and how he's supposed to provide for not only the woman, but that he's also to provide for his kids. Oh, okay. That is some dumbass shit. Just because they go to church do not make them a good man. In fact, if a man be in church every single Sunday and he's still single, you're a red flag. Yeah, you're a red flag. I don't know what's going on with you to where you can't find nobody. Either you're really down low, you have a lack of self-confidence, and you don't know how to talk to women in the church, which I ain't got no time to make a secure at 35, or you just don't want no woman in the church because you want them all. You don't want no one. You want to be able to knock them all down. She was the one who was the highest bidder. That's why she got the man. But everybody like, oh, Leroy sing praise and worship so good. I hope that I marry him. I hope that I marry him. And she thought that she got the prize because she the one to marry expensive ass Leroy, and you didn't.
He has like such a good relationship with God. Like all of that respect started wearing down. And so because of the frustration of also not also being able to afford like all of these bills, now I was also paying for tuition. I was paying rent. I was paying like school fees for these kids, and it's just a lot. I was starting like to be so mean. I'd be so mean, like would be having an argument and then I'll just throw it in. But like you're not even helping me. Yeah, but like,
Are we being mean or are we being honest? That's so irritating whenever men get hurt because you speaking actual factuals back to them. Those actual factuals will fuck a man up, and she's scared to tell him actual factually, your ass ain't got no job or no money, so you don't get to have a big say in this. Oh, why, girl? Because he gonna get mad. I want you to be the man to help me take care of these kids. In fact, I want to be home taking care of these kids. I don't want to be out in the hospital field taking care of other people's lives when I got 3 of my own at home. God dang, I keep on arguing with you about the same shit, and I got to bite my tongue every time because you're going to get to crying and calling your mama. Now y'all praying over you. For what? Ain't that much prayer in the world to learn how to fill out a damn job application.
He would say to me, like, despite everything that I thought I was doing from my end, he would like say things like, what has he gained from this marriage? And like then I would start counting. I would start counting the things that I think he has gained. But despite all of that, like he used to say things that suggest that he feels that I'm a useless wife, like I'm not a good wife. And now I was like thinking that I'm doing my best as a wife. And so I started being mean. Like I'll throw jabs at him. I'll say things that you shouldn't say to a man. Like I'd say to him that like I don't know but now why I'm in this marriage. I don't know why I'm in this marriage because it's not even the sex. Like there's no sex. It's not that like you care for me. You don't. It's not that like you are there for the kids all the time. You are not. Like you the whole week you are where you're staying and then you come here like on the Friday and then you are here Saturday and then on Sunday you're leaving. Okay, if you came on the Saturday, on the Monday you're leaving. The marriage is busy dying and Mnangapa, I am busy like going deeper, deep and deep and deep. I think it just like from there onwards, like the marriage just started going like low, low, low. Then I started like saying to him, listen, I gave birth to my last child, the third born. And I think I've spoken to how like the conception of my last child was in the video that I posted when I was saying that even in a dry marriage you can still fall pregnant. So I'm not gonna include that here. But like I then eventually gave birth to my third child. We tried to say let's work things out, and then I forgave him, and then we spoke and we said we're gonna give it an honest.
What'd you forgive him for? Because he wasn't you, so who was he? So what'd you forgive him for? Like, let's talk straight. Let's stop running around this. Oh, we weren't seeing eye to eye. We were thinking about divorce. What it sounded like is she came to the internet to feel like she didn't make a wrong decision by deciding that it was time to leave him. And you should have been done decided to leave this dude alone. This ain't the first time he showed you exactly who he was. He been cheating throughout the marriage. And since you're so God-fearing, then you know that cheating or something like that is grounds for divorce. So you should have been done left him probably after child number 1. But you went ahead and had 3. Why? Because you kept wanting to fight this thing out. That's what it was. So don't come on here acting like he did you so wrong when you was a willing participant.
And then when we did that, then we were now speaking. I was like, listen, look, this car is very expensive. I think you can see, but I can no longer afford this car. and we've got 3 kids, and we're saying we want to try and make the marriage work.
Okay, honey,
We
you
spoke,
saying the same thing,
he
babe.
agrees, because I was like, this is not a matter of me wanting to take away the one thing that he treasures, but it's me trying to make him see, but as the man of the house, you need to make the decision for us, to say that you're choosing us as a family as opposed to choosing you and your comfort. It took forever. Like, he just didn't want. At some point, I was considering that I was going to take my car and his car, and then we trade them in for me to come out with a very small car so that he can have like the car that he's going to be comfortable with, because he was saying even if he lets go of the GLB, he still wanted a Mercedes Benz. He didn't want anything that is below like the Germans. He wasn't going to drive anything but a Mercedes Benz. Like, he would much rather even go towards getting a second hand, but it must be a Benz. I was so frustrated. Then I did call a few dealerships, and we tried, but eventually I was like to him, no, the car has got to go. To cut the long story short, eventually we had to let the bank take the car, the GLB, and then the bank did come and take the car, but the value of the car, obviously, it had depreciated, and then it had more than 250,000 shortfall. And then with that, I think the bank did give me a discount, like a 40% discount, and then I ended up having to pay, and then eventually I was left with around like 130 or like 130, and then I had to like settle that. But settling that, I settled that like after we had separated, like long separated. And then, yeah, because the reason I had to do that is because I did falter on one payment. And at that point, after the car was taken, I was blacklisted, so it's not like I could like get a car like right away. So we ended up deciding that he should take my car, this car, the one that I'm driving now, that he should take my car. So now I ended up not having a car because he doesn't stay in the rurals, he stays in the city, so he needs to have a car. He also had another hustle amongst his like many hustles. He also had another hustle where he's selling second-hand cars. So he didn't have like any cars, that a lot of cars to sell. So like he didn't have, but he had like an old Polo that hadn't been sold, at that time. So he could have decided that he can drive that Polo and then I get to keep my car. He said, no, that car is meant to be sold. I will break the car. So if I break the car, then he will not be able to sell it for business, and then he will end up not being able to have money because now I've broken the car. So he gets to take my car, and then he goes to PE where he's staying, while I remain with the kids, all 3 kids, mind you, and I have to go to work, but I am left without a car. Then he said, no, this other guy that he always leaves the car that he's selling with, that like drives the car around, that guy can be the chauffeur. So when I have to go to work, that guy can come and pick me up and drop me off. And then also that guy can also drop off the kids and pick the kids up with the car that is being sold. But he's saying, no, I cannot drive that car because I will break it. Hey, we must have done that. I don't know for how long, but at that point, the abuse was also escalating. It was also escalating, and now I was going to work and I don't have a car. I can't explain to you how much I love this car. It's not a fancy car. I drive a Kia Seltos. It's really not a fancy car, but it's a comfortable car for me. It's a car I'm very comfortable in. It's a car I love so much. And it's the one thing that I look at and I'm like, I went to school and I bought myself this and I love it. So to have him drive my car while I was walking to work and still have him like not be nice to me, that broke me. It broke me.
But she shouldn't have came online and started to trauma dump and not really tell us no type of ways of how she went ahead and got over it. Just sounds like she's telling us everything that happened to her, why it happened to her. Okay. And bad things happen to people all the damn time. What are you going to do to change the narrative? What are you going to do to change your life? What are you going to do to make things better for you and your kids? Or are you going to sit in this scorned place where this fucked you up? He went ahead, took your, ran you for your money, and is still living the high life, and you coming online crying about it and telling us that he done also took your car? No, girl, you need to stand up and do something about it. I'm so tired of women having to sit here and listen to all these sob stories, and you'll see down in the comments everybody being like, oh, I feel so sorry. Just shut up. You gonna get up or what? Are you gonna come on here every day and tell us another thing about how he messed you over? Because I don't want to hear about it, okay? I just don't want to hear about it. So let me know what you think down in the comments. I have been the Just Case in Red. I am so glad that you guys tuned in. Make sure to like the video, hit your notification bell so you catch me each and every single time that I come on. Follow me everywhere at the Just Case in Brand, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.